beautiful people, and welcome to my channel. If you haven't been here before, my name is Jennifer Diamond, and I live a whole food, plant-exclusive, SOS-free, gluten-free lifestyle for health and well-being. And today I wanted to bring you along with me while I make a berry salad. Now, this salad has a lot of fun things in it, fruit and some fennel and a dressing that we're going to be making. It was inspired by Dr. Fuhrman's a recipe that I saw for a breakfast berry salad. And so anyhow, I'm going to be going to a potluck. I go to a lot of them, and I thought this would be a great salad to bring along. It's refreshing, and it's got just the right sweetness, and it's creamy and delicious, and it's raw. And this happens to be a raw potluck that I'm going to. It's also the middle of summer where we are, and so having things that are cool and refreshing are important. So I have all this stuff measured out except for a couple of things that I thought we would do together. And the first one is the fennel. This is actually half of a fennel if you're not familiar with fennel. Fennel is great for so many things, but the flavor is kind of like a licorice kind of a flavor. And I really enjoy this raw in salads, and so we're going to add some of this today. And so I had just cut it down the middle and used half. This part here you can definitely use. I put it in salads as well. These little pieces here, everything, the whole thing is edible. So, but for starters, I am going to cut this off and trim off the very bottom and put this in my vegetable broth. And then I'm just going to slice it super thin. So fennel has a lot of good benefits to it. It's good, like anti-inflammatory. I understand that it helps with heart disease and so many wonderful things. But it also has got a great kind of crunch to it, and the smell is really delicious, and I just love it. It's really fun. I have not always been like familiar or used fennel. It's kind of a newer, maybe in the last handful of years, newer vegetable that I enjoy now. And so if you haven't tried it, give it a try. It's good raw, or you can cut it up and cook it in soups and do so many wonderful things with it. And just finish chopping this up. There we go. And so you can use this whole thing. I'm going to do, this is probably about a cup's worth. Is this a cup's worth? You know what, let's just take a peek here and see. How much do we have here? Now, I'm going to be doubling this recipe, and so actually half a cup is probably plenty, and it looks like I have a lot more than that. So I will be using that on something another time. But I've got my bowl here that I'm going to be taking, and I like this bowl for travel because it's got a lid and it's easy to travel with. So I'm going to go ahead and dump in the fennel, and frankly, you could cut it even thinner than this, or you can chop it to make it smaller pieces. I decided not to do that. And you know what? I feel like, you know what the heck, let's be crazy. Let's get crazy and just add all the cut fennel, and then I'll have a little bit left to use on something else in another recipe. Okay, so then we are going to add to our fennel a couple of other things. And so I'm going to chop up some cucumber. I've already chopped up cucumber here and some apple, and I thought that I would just show you how I cut this. You can cut it any way you want. This is a Persian cucumber. I really enjoy these. They're small. You can use an English cucumber, any kind of cucumber you want. Some people, when they cut up cucumbers. They like the English one or ones that have not as many seeds in them. But for me, the Persian cucumber, it tastes great, and I like the crunch of it. And so for me, the seeds doesn't matter whether they have them or not. But I just literally, as you saw, I cut it down this way, turned it over and cut it again to make these kind of like strips. And then from there, I'm just lining it up and making them into small triangles so that they're bite size. And you know what I'm gonna grab is my handy dandy scraper. I love this thing. Here it is. And we're gonna go ahead and scrape this and add it into our bowl. So we've got the fennel and the cucumber. And I'm gonna go ahead and add the rest of the cucumber and this green apple. There you go. And to that, I'm gonna add one more green apple. I wanted to do it together with you. You can slice it any way you want. I just happen to have this slicer here. This is an amazing slicer because it separates it into even parts. And so I'm just gonna use that. This is washed and clean. It's an organic Granny Smith apple. And I just used 2 whole ones. The cucumber was, you could use one big cucumber, like, one regular size cucumber. I used 3 of the, or did I use 4? I did 3 or 4 of the Persian cucumbers. And so you just want to decide, depending on the type of cucumber, how much you have there. Ooh. Oh, I just cut myself. Oh my gosh, so don't always do what I do, but what I did was, this is sharp, the blade here, and I literally just pushed it into my thumb, so don't do that. So I went ahead and rinsed it. I'm all good. It's just a tiny little cut, and I'm all ready to go. Cleaned it out, have the Band-Aid. So let's get back to the apple cutting, and I want to share that with you because that happens in real life. Sometimes we get injured and we make mistakes, and it's just part of what it is. So luckily, it wasn't a big deal. So okay, I'm going to go ahead. You saw how I sliced this with that apple slicer, and these are the size of the slices, which are great. But for me, I think in this instance, I want to slice them a little bit thinner. So I'm just going to go and slice each one of them down a little bit. I will link this apple slicer and see if I can also find another apple slicer that has double the amount of slices so that you can get the thinner slices. But if not, you can just do it the way you see me doing it. And if you don't have one of these and you don't want one, just slice it with a knife any way you want. Just keep your fingers out of the way. So, okay, we're almost done here. Now, do you have to use a green apple? No, you don't have to use a green apple. But green apples are tart, and sometimes I prefer to use a green apple in an ingredient, in a recipe as an ingredient, I should say, instead of just eating it, plain, because of the tartness. And so I think I also like that it's kind of a firmer one, so it's got more of a crunch to it. So whatever apple you decide to go with, think of those things. Is this one going to be a little on the mushy side? Maybe I should go with one that's more firm, and you can decide what works for you. And then, okay, so this is done. I'm going to take the great scraper and dump the rest of the apple in. And right now it's looking very green. And if you know me, I like lots of color in my food. And here we go. You can check it out. It needs something, doesn't it? And so that's why I have all of these beautiful berries. And so I'm going to go ahead and add some sliced up fresh strawberries and blueberries that are cleaned, and I just decided kind of at the last minute to also throw in a handful of raspberries. But any kind of berry that you want to use will be great in this recipe. I have a cup of each, but I'm doubling this one, so you could do up to 2 cups of each berries. And that's just the blueberry and the strawberry. The raspberry I just threw in a handful, so I didn't really count that. You could do blackberries and all kinds of, any kind of berry that you enjoy. And then I'm gonna go ahead and grab something to give it a quick like mix here. Look at it, already just changed things, didn't it? It brought it to a whole nother level. It's not just green, but now it's got some beautiful, beautiful berry colors, reds and green and blue, which I really like. So we're gonna set that aside. And then the last thing we're gonna use are some walnuts. So I'm gonna go ahead and dump these walnuts out here. I've got a 1/2 cup here. That's doubled, so it would be a 1/4 cup if you were gonna do it less than that. And I'm just giving it a rough chop. Do you have to do this? No. I just sometimes think that it's nice to have smaller pieces, especially when it's mixed in, so you get a lot of different things on your spoon or fork. And so let me go ahead and throw those in. Look at that brown, beautiful color that is added to this. And then I'm gonna give it another mix here, mix, mix, mix. And that's it for the base of the salad. So now we're just gonna make the dressing. And so I'm just gonna tell you, we're gonna go over, I had a 1/2 cup of fennel, although you saw I added a little more, but if you were gonna do this, at least a 1/2 cup of fennel, and this amounts are based on me doubling it, so you could always cut this in half. And then I had the cucumber, so 1 large English cucumber or 3 or 4 of the Persian cucumbers would be great. And you can double that if you want to make it doubled. And then I had a cup of blueberries, a cup of strawberries, and a handful of raspberries. So you could double those up to 2 cups, 2 cups. And you know, if you want to throw in some extra ones, go ahead and do that. And then we had the 2 green apples, so you can use just 1 apple, or you can double it like I'm doing, and we added the 2 together. And then I did a 1/2 cup of walnuts. If you're cutting it in half, of course, it's a 1/4 cup. And there we go. We blended it, mixed it, and I'm setting it aside because we're gonna get busy making a dressing for it. And so let me rinse this off. Well, I don't even need to rinse it. I'm just gonna do that really quickly. And I'm gonna bring over the NutriBullet. If you're not familiar with the NutriBullet, I will link it below. You know, I really love my Vitamix, but I find for dressings and smaller quantities that the NutriBullet really works well for me. So if you're not familiar with the NutriBullet, you can check the link below and you know, inquire about it. And so for this, we're gonna use a cup of plant milk. This is soy milk. You can use almond milk. You can use any plant milk you want. If you're cutting it in half, it would be 1/2 cup, but we're doubling it, so this is 1 cup. And then I've got some cashews and some dates here. Now, the cashews are 1/3 of a cup, but I'm doubling it, so I'm doing it twice. And then let me just put these in here. And you know, you can soak these if you want ahead of time, but I think they're fine. My NutriBullet is strong enough to handle that, and soaking them does make them even creamier and easier to process, so that's kind of up to you. And then how many dates did we end up doing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that's doubled. So you could do 3. If you don't want as many dates, cut it down to 2, and that's fine. Or if you were doubling it, you know, you could do 4 or 5. It's really, really very forgiving. And those I took out the pits. You want to make sure there's no pits, or you're going to destroy your machine. And these particular ones happen to be the Medjool Dates, but any dates will work. If they're smaller, maybe consider that and double them and count that as 1. Okay, the last thing that we're going to do is add these hemp seeds. And hemp seeds are really great. For the single recipe, it would be 2 tablespoons. I'm doubling it, so we have 4 tablespoons. They're great for omegas. They've got a nice nutty flavor, and I'm just gonna dump those in. All right. Let's get this dressing going. It should be a nice, creamy, thick, delicious, sweet but not overly sweet dressing. So I'm gonna go ahead and plug this in over here on my little plug, and so good, the right food, and it always gets me going when I have an opportunity to dance and get a little crazy in the kitchen. And that's not just for you, that's just how I am. You can ask my family. But I see that this is looking really good, and it looks really thick. I might just, well, let's take the lid off. I was gonna say I was gonna blend it a little more, but I should just check it first. Oh yeah, look at how creamy that is. Whoa, I love it. Oh, and it smells delicious. I was thinking we could mix it more. It doesn't need it. The truth is, I was probably looking for a reason to dance more, but I guess I could do that after we finish making this. So let me unplug this and move this guy out of the way. Let me get a beautiful spatula. I love this guy. And I love it for this because it really does a fantastic job of scraping down the sides. Now, I just want to talk for a minute. I'm going to be using, taking this to a potluck in maybe an hour or two. So if it was going to be longer than that, or I was serving this at a party, or I just wasn't going to be eating it right away, I think that I would just refrigerate this in a separate container. And then when I'm ready to serve it, or within a half an hour, I would pour it over, just so it keeps things nice and crisp and fresh. So keep that in mind if you're going to make this. But because I'm going to be going not within a half an hour, but probably within an hour or so, I am going to go ahead and add it now. But if it were any longer than that, I would bring the dressing with me, and like I said, just add it in. So I always like to get as much of this out of this container and this lid as I can. Gosh, it's so delicious. Do you see the thickness? I'm going to show you in the regular container once I clean this up the best I can, but I won't bore you with the details there. And so I always go around the lip, and then I scrape backwards down the sides and get it mostly into one area. And then you'll see here, look at this. Look, 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 look. Now, if this seems too thick for you, you could always add a little bit more milk, plant milk to it. But gosh, that looks delightful. Now, I could also, I'm not emptying the whole thing. I could also just start and see how that blends up. Do I want to add more sauce? So let's just mix it up and see if that's enough or if I should add the whole thing. Yeah, looks like I probably will add the whole thing. You just basically want to coat it really well. And oh God, is this looking and smelling delicious? So If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. You'll be notified when I go live or I post new videos, and give this a thumbs up. Please help me spread the word and share with people the benefits and the beauty that's found in whole food, plant-based lifestyle and eating. I would just love if you did. And if you are a subscriber, thank you so much, truly, from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate the support that you offer in subscribing. And don't forget, if you want to chat, hey, I'm always available. So leave me a note or a comment or a question in the comments below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. Did you try it? Have you ever heard of it? Do you have a different idea of things we could add to it? Go ahead and let me know. And you know what? Gosh, this looks like there's a lot of dressing on it. So here I thought maybe we would add the rest, but look at that. That looks pretty creamy. So I'm thinking that maybe I'll save that for me for a different day and just take this the way it is. So you could do half of the dressing amount and double the ingredient amount and be fine. So the idea is play with it and see what works for you. And so now I am going to taste it with you. I gotta taste it with you, right? So, and when I bring it somewhere, I might clean up the edges in the bowl, or if you want to transfer it into a beautiful glass bowl or anything like that, you can even put it in some beautiful glasses if you're gonna be home or somewhere where you can do that and really make a nice fancy display for whoever is going to enjoy this with you. All right, so here we go. Fennel, fruit, cucumber, deliciousness, walnuts, yummy. Okay, just so much going on in my mouth. It's definitely a nice sweet flavor. It's got a creaminess and a crunchiness all in one. I love the combination of the fennel and the apple with the berries. It really balances out nicely. And then all the ingredients that make it creamy. So everything from the plant milk to the cashew nuts and hemp seeds and the dates. It's just super delicious. I would say go ahead and eat this if you want for breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack. Share it, don't share it. I think it's good for anywhere, anytime, and I hope that you try it. So thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really hope that this inspires you to try something new, and if you do, of course, again, let me know in the comments. Now, don't forget to eat your greens. Take care, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.